So then basically, like I said, the killer it's trying to relive his childhood. So but it's a really clever idea where basically inside the small neighborhood, the same neighborhood that basically Stephen Baldwin and his family live in, his character's name is Caleb. And so Caleb, he and his family, they live in the same neighborhood where this killer is basically before, you know, wait, like 10, 20 years ago or something, the town was different, and this killer had, whoever this killer is, had gone through bad childhood. You know, it had basically gone through a horrible childhood of abuse and neglect and being moved from town to moved from basically basement to basement or halfway home to halfway home. And the idea is that basically that this killer has basically buried or hidden parts of its childhood in these different houses throughout this neighborhood. And basically what this killer is doing is getting back a piece of its childhood, trying to get back that one, at least that those few happy memories that the child had, you know, before, you know, his, you know, basically the few little happy memories the child had, you know, that weren't terrible. You know, basically it's like the few little happy moments that he basically I know I'm saying he, but yeah. I probably already fucked up there and shit. But anyway, you can probably figure it out if I keep saying he. You're like, oh, what else could it be? Well, fuck it. Seriously. Yeah. It's hard to not give that kind of thing away. For me, anyway. I don't know. I'm trying to do no spoilers, and I fucked up, so you probably already figured it out. If you figured it out, good for you. So it probably won't be much of a shock, but, you know, I think it might be a shock about who she is. It's a she who ends up being the killer in the end, but I'm not gonna tell you who it is. It ends up being a she, though. And I thought it was pretty cleverly handled when you find out who she really is. So basically hit all these things and everything like that, and in these different places before, you know, it's hard to explain. You have to see the film. It's basically hiding these last little happy moments, and basically the killer's going back to all these different places and basically taking back pieces of his childhood, and basically that's where you get the whole line that I think it's in the trailer. In the film, it's all like, you know, he wants to go home. The killer's trying to go home, and you know, there's a lot of clues. It's basically clues. It's leaving clues behind, leaving pieces of its past behind, and it's coming home it wants to collect all these happy moments so it can basically come home again, because that's pretty much what this killer wants to believe is home, not the horrible crap that, you know, that really was the killer's home, like abusive, you know, and getting abused and treated like shit, and moved from house to house. No, it just wants to have a stable environment, and that stable environment will be full of the things that made the killer happy. And I thought that was interesting. So the killer's basically going back home and just going back to all these different places to collect pieces of its past, but at the same time also offing people who are in the houses. And you figure out that these people have something to do with, you know, the killer's past and everything. And it all ties up really well in the end. So I thought it was a really clever screenplay because it tied up really well in the end. I didn't think it was too predictable. I thought it had enough twists and turns in it. But anyway, the killer has this kind of silly look. It's wearing like a North Sport sort of winter jacket with glasses, and it's kind of like, it's not really that intimidating, but I mean, it's kind of goofy. But in all honesty, usually the only time you see the killer up front is like basically while Stephen Baldwin's trying to chase after the killer at the end. So if you saw this killer, you wouldn't see it, because this killer has a tendency to basically hit people in the back of the head with a hammer and then drag their ass somewhere and clean up the blood or something. Basically cleans up the crime scene. And so the killer has gotten the nickname Mr. Clean, which Stephen Baldwin doesn't take a liking to that, because he's like, I don't like these nicknames. It glorifies these killers, you know. So basically, yeah, that's basically just the plot. You know, Alec Baldwin's playing Caleb. He's a cop. He's trying to track down this killer before it's, before, he kills again, and the killer's basically, and I know I said he, and it actually turns out it's she, I fucked up, whatever, he, she, whatever, it basically, it's killing all these different people throughout this different town, throughout this little small town, and it's a race against time, and, and it's got a good climax, at least I thought so, and it's got a good few other twists in there with with the cop's wife, and also you have a good supporting cast, performances, especially by Rob Knepper, who plays his partner. Rob Knepper is the guy who played Wild Thing in the movie A Wild Thing that I talked about on the other channel. So Rob Knepper is in this as his partner. Stephen Baldwin is basically the star of the film. And Tyne Daly does a good job as the doctor, the psychiatrist, Dr. Marshall Lyons. The only performance which I thought was over the top and really, honestly, really shitty was the Dalin Christiansen as Mr. Gummer, who's basically a police chief. He's going over the top and just trying to be the over-the-top yelling police chief and just failing miserably at it, in my opinion. But other than that, there's a few other weird things, like there's no opening credits. It's like the first movie I've ever seen where, honestly, there is no opening credits. There's no opening credits in this film, which I thought was weird. But anyway, for what it was a solid film. It was kept me guessing, kept me interested, kept me involved, kept me wondering what was going to happen next. Good performance by Stephen Baldwin. Good supporting cast performance by Rob Knepper. Just good performances by everyone in the cast, and decent score, and just a really kind of interesting plot. So I recommend it if you found it somewhere, for 50 cents or $1. So I don't think it's online. So if you do want me to rip a copy of it, and put it somewhere on the net for you guys, I can do that too. But anyway, I don't really know what else to say about Absence of the Good, except I was going to rate it out of 5 stars. I think I gave it 3.5. It was a solid film. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So, that's I'll give it props for that. If it turns out to be a lot better than just a typical run-of-the-mill direct-to-video flick, that's a plus in my opinion. It's definitely better than a lot of the other films of its ilk. But anyway, I don't know what else to say, folks, except thanks for watching, and I'll check you later. See ya.